All eyes were on Wisconsin this year as candidates took center stage.
It's time that we put the politics of division behind us.
A missing child investigation on Wisconsin's lakeshore became national news.
I have kids, and if it were mine, I'd want someone to be there too.
Colleges closed several satellite campuses while others dealt with deficits.
Green Bay ushered in a new superintendent after disparaging comments led to a quick exit for the last hire.
First thing they said, "Who, me? Well, BITCH, of course it's you."
The NFL announcing it's teaming up with Titletown for the 2025 draft.
They're going to love being in Green Bay.
And we take you into the community to see how Fox 11 is making a difference for others.
It just makes me happy to see that people are so generous.
It was an eventful year. Join us as we take a look back at 2024.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Melby.
And I'm Mark Leland.
Thank you for joining us for our 2024 A Year in Review special.
Being an election year, 2024 put Wisconsin in the political spotlight, from changes in voting districts to making an impact once again as a swing state. The November election dominated the headlines for months in 2024. The nonstop political ads airing in Wisconsin could not be avoided.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
And the importance of the state brought out the candidates and those supporting them, too. Vice President Kamala Harris made stops in Ripon, Ashwaubenon, and Little Chute.
In this election, we have an opportunity to finally turn the page on a decade of Donald Trump.
Former President Donald Trump held rallies too, bringing out the crowds in Green Bay and Ashwaubenon.
Oh, thank you very much. Wow, what a nice crowd this is.
While 4 years ago, Wisconsin handed Trump a narrow loss, this time around, our purple state gave the Republican a victory. But Trump's political coattails did not extend to the U.S. Senate race, with voters choosing two-term incumbent Democrat Tammy Baldwin over Republican Eric Hovde. In both statewide races, the margin of victory was roughly 29,000 votes. Baldwin trailed as the votes were tabulated for much of election night, but when Milwaukee County counted up its absentee ballots in the early morning hours, the two-term senator claimed her third victory.
I want to say thank you to the people of Wisconsin for putting their trust in me to continue to be their fighter in Washington, D.C.
Hovde complained about the campaign he faced and considered asking for a recount, but ultimately conceded defeat.
A request for a recount would serve no purpose because you will just be recounting the same ballots regardless of their integrity.
Voters in northeast Wisconsin's 8th congressional district didn't have an incumbent to choose from since Mike Gallagher resigned from office earlier in the year, citing threats made against him and his family. Republican Tony Wied took up the reins for the GOP and defeated Democrat Kristin Lyerly.
So we're making politics fun again. Yeah!
And many voters throughout the state found themselves in new Wisconsin legislative districts with boundary lines redrawn this year. Republicans have dominated the state legislature since the GOP passed gerrymandered district maps in 2011. Both sides agreed to maps put forth by Governor Tony Evers that were chosen to level the political playing field. The result had Democrats gaining seats in both the Assembly and the state Senate, but not enough to take the majority. From the search for Elijah Vue to the revelation that a missing man faked his own death, Northeast Wisconsin saw its fair share of tragedy in 2024.
Fox 11's Emily Matesic has a look back at some of the top stories to make headlines.
What happened here is a tragedy, but it is not an accident.
Waupaca County Judge Raymond Huber sentencing Scott Farmer to nearly 40 years in prison. The sentencing came nearly a year after Farmer killed siblings Daniel, Fabian, Lillian, and Daniela Gonzalez in a wrong-way drunk driving crash on Highway 10 near Wyawega. The December 2023 crash devastated not only the siblings' family, but the community as well. Dozens of community members submitting letters to the court asking Farmer be sentenced to the maximum.
7 years, living a beautiful life together, and truly a happy and blessed family. And Scott Farmer recklessly destroyed the hopes, futures, and dreams of all 4 of our children.
In February, attention turned here to Two Rivers in the Manitowoc County area as the community became consumed with the search for Elijah Vue. The 3-year-old was reported missing by Jesse Vang, his mother's boyfriend. Katrina Bauer had sent her son to live with Vang in Two Rivers for disciplinary reasons. The disappearance of the toddler setting off massive searches by law enforcement and community members.
I want to take a moment to express our deepest gratitude to everyone who has volunteered their time, resources, and support to assist in the search for Elijah.
Vue's mother and her boyfriend were originally charged with child neglect shortly after the child went missing. But then in September, more than 6 months after Vue disappeared, his remains were found. The pair then charged in connection with his death.
This is an incredibly tragic situation that has shaken our community.
After more than a month of searching Green Lake for missing kayaker Ryan Borgwardt, who disappeared in August, the sheriff's office discovered the married father faked his own death and took off to Europe after communicating with a woman in Uzbekistan.
Due to these discoveries of the new evidence, we were sure that Ryan was not in our lake.
Weeks later, the sheriff held another news conference, sharing a video of Borgwardt after authorities, with the help of a Russian-speaking woman, were able to make contact with him. While Borgwardt says he's safe, he told authorities he's scared how the community would react if he returned to Wisconsin.
In our communications, we are expressing the importance of his decision to return home, clean up the mess that he has created.
Then, just 2 weeks before Christmas, Borgwardt returned to the United States, turning himself in to authorities. He was charged with obstruction, and his wife, who he shares 3 kids with, filed for an annulment of their marriage. Borgwardt will return to court in 2025. Emily Matesic, Fox 11 News.
Scan the QR code on your screen to head to the WLUK-TV Fox 11 YouTube page. Once there, click on the playlist section. There you'll find our complete coverage of the Elijah Vue investigation, from when he was first reported missing to the latest on the criminal charges against Katrina Bauer and Jesse Vang.
Our 2024 A Year in Review special is just getting started.
From preparations for the upcoming NFL draft to historic weather events, there is plenty for us to look back on.
But first, we take a look at the roller coaster ride that was education across Northeast Wisconsin. And we're counting down our top viewed web stories of the year. Coming in at number 3 with more than 143,000 page views is the first allegations against Katrina Bauer and Jesse Vang. Bauer's 3-year-old son, Elijah Vue, was reported missing in February. "2024 brought many questions as to what the future looks like for the universities of Wisconsin.
Our public institutions still have much to navigate as we head into this new year, and that includes budget deficits and campus closures. Fox 11's Andrew Mertins has a recap of the massive changes within the system in this Project Education report.
2024 was a year of trying times for the universities of Wisconsin as institutions grappled with financial and enrollment problems. 6 UW schools, including UW-Oshkosh, are operating in the red with structural deficits for the 2024 fiscal year. Numerous steps have been taken to shrink the deficit, which in 2023 sat at $18 million.
What we're working on is to stabilize enrollment, which we will.
Amid their financial woes, in October, UW-Oshkosh Chancellor Andrew Levitt announced he'll be resigning at the end of this academic year.
I just simply decided that it was time, really needed to step out of the role.
2-year branch campuses are becoming sparse as the system navigates change. 6 branch campuses across the state have either closed or announced closures in 2024, particularly due to low enrollment numbers. In May, classes taught exclusively in person at UW Green Bay's Marinette campus ended as the university looked to lessen its footprint.
We'll still offer classes up there that are point-to-point classes, or in other words, where it'll class when we originate in Marinette or at another one of our campuses, but students could take the class in Marinette.
UW-Oshkosh's Fond du Lac campus officially closed in June. That same month, UWO announced it will shut down operations at its Fox Cities campus in Menasha in June of 2025.
And given the costs associated with operating facilities, delivering in-person instruction in a range of fields,
it was simply no longer financially feasible.
In July, a Wisconsin Legislative Council study committee began examining the UW system. Committee members floated around the idea of potentially splitting UW-Madison away from the other comprehensives. In 2025, the state legislature will be weighing the biennial budget, and the UW system is pressing for $855 million in new funding.
In my mind, we are relying too much on tuition right now, putting too much burden on students.
The Universities of Wisconsin still has a long road ahead to improve enrollment and finances to ensure a better future. Andrew Mertins, Fox 11 News.
Leadership shakeups, school closures, multi-million-dollar projects, and heated debates. The 2024 school year had its up and downs for the area districts, namely Green Bay and Oshkosh.
As we head into the new year, a look back at the biggest stories regarding local education in Northeast Wisconsin. Fox 11's Marlo Lundak has more in this Year in Review Project Education report.
It was a bit of a turbulent start to the year for the Green Bay Area Public School District, starting with the resignation of Superintendent Claude Tiller in February after just 7 months in the role.
I hope that you can sleep at night when our kids see that you guys did not defend Mr. Tiller.
It came after Tiller was featured on an Atlanta radio show during a teacher recruitment trip.
Green Bay is about as lily white as I've ever seen it.
A lily on top of the lily.
Comments he made during commercial breaks and caught on camera were the nail in the coffin. Here, talking about a subordinate.
The first thing they said, oh, me? Well, BITCH, of course it's you.
Officials, however, were unable to dedicate ample time to searching for a new superintendent as they worked on a complete overhaul of the district, starting with the closure of Wied, Tank, and Keller elementary schools.
It's tough. Like, it was just more than a school, you know, it was like their second home. So it's kind of hard.
Due to a debilitating budget deficit and declining enrollment, the district reworked student boundaries, voted to close 3 more schools, and presented a massive $183 million referendum to voters to update existing schools and to build a new one. Voters approved it.
The decisions have been hard, but we're moving in the right direction.
And the Oshkosh Area School District had its ups and downs, too. Parents and community members first fought over books discussing gender identity in Oshkosh West High School's library.
Do you really think there are not queer and trans kids in Oshkosh area schools? Don't those kids deserve to read about people like them?
Then, focus shifted to updated Title IX regulations, which expanded sex-based harassment to include sexual orientation and gender identity.
We now have bad actors who are abusing and taking advantage of the Title IX rule update to enter any restroom, any locker room, go into any sports team that best identifies with how they feel.
In the end, after weeks of heated discussions, the school board voted to maintain the books and adopt the new Title IX regulations. Marlo Lundak, Fox 11 News.
Scan the QR code on your screen to head to the Project Education section of our website. From pre-K through post-secondary education, Fox 11 has you covered on the classroom issues that matter to you. Well, the Packers said bye-bye Barry after a disappointing loss in the playoffs.
Coming up after the break, we recap the season with Love back at QB1 for his second year. Plus, how Titletown is preparing to host its largest event in history. Our 2024 A Year in Review special continues after the break. And we're counting down our top viewed web stories of the year. Coming in at number 2, Anson Williams, Donnie Most, and Henry Winkler, better known as Potsy, Ralph Malph, and the Fonz, appeared at this year's Iola Old Car Show. It had more than 186,000 page views and nearly 110,000 gallery views.
The Packers have a lot to look forward to on the field in 2025, but off the field, the organization has a lot going on as well. Ben Krumholtz joins me now, and Ben, is the city of Green Bay ready to host the NFL Draft?
Ryan, it's coming quick here at the end of April, and much of 2024 was spent preparing for the big event that will bring hundreds of thousands of people to Titletown. In late April, a group from the village of Ashwaubenon was among dozens of people from the Green Bay area who headed east to see the NFL Draft firsthand in Detroit.
Love it. It's a much larger area than what
we envisioned, I think, in our mind's eye. It's going to be a big undertaking for our community when it comes to Ashwaubenon and Green Bay in 2025.
Detroit saw a record 775,000 people enter its draft footprint over the 3-day event.
Living the reality of it, I think opened our eyes a little bit more.
3, 2, 1. Oh!
In May, Green Bay was officially put on the clock as draft host. A ceremonial football made its way across Lake Michigan and up the state's east coast to Lambeau Field.
It's not just going to be Green Bay, certainly the surrounding area too. The number of hotel rooms and accommodations are going to be a challenge for people.
Organizers hosted community events throughout the year, keeping the public updated on how they're going to pull off the largest event the area has ever seen.
I'm more excited than I was when I came in here.
Tentatively, fans will enter the draft campus from the west, near the Titletown district, where the interactive draft experience will be. That's where fans can enjoy displays of helmets, jerseys, and trophies, along with putting their own football skills to the test. The draft stage is set to be near the intersection of Oneida Street and Lombardi Avenue, facing Lambeau. The Resch Complex will hold back-of-house operations like the green room and media.
General locations of the experience and the theater, those types of things, I don't think are going to change. It's just more the finer points around that.
The draft is expected to have a statewide economic impact of $94 million. Ben Krumholz, Fox 11 News.
Earlier this year, Ben hosted our special Green Bay on the Clock, a look ahead to the draft in Titletown. Scan the QR code on your screen to head to the WLUK-TV Fox 11 YouTube page. There you can watch our special, plus any future draft-related content we report.
From blizzards to tornadoes and historic flooding.
Mother Nature laying it all out on the table in terms of weather this year. We take a look at the top headlines, plus we head out to see how you, our viewers, help those most in need in our community. And we're counting down our top viewed web stories of the year. Coming in at number 1 was a tragic story from the waters of Green Bay. In July, Bill Salnick and his children, Charlotte and Joshua, died while sailing in Door County. That story had more than 216,000 page views. Our 2024 Year in Review special continues after the break.
From a 1-2 punch of wintry weather to a pair of tornadoes in February and rains that overwhelmed a small community's dam.
Mother Nature making sure she wasn't forgotten this year. Meteorologist Phil DeCastro has a look at our top weather headlines for 2024.
It's easy to forget now, but this past year started out with a double whammy of snowy weather. Winter Storm Avery and Blizzard Bennett blasted northeast Wisconsin in the span of 4 days. Avery left a modest 3 to 6 inches for most, but Bennett dumped 6 to 12 inches almost over the entire area. Swamico ended up with the highest reported total, 18 inches. It was our biggest storm in nearly 6 years. But after that, it was like winter had snowed itself out. February was the warmest on record in Green Bay. The mercury even hit 70 degrees on the 27th, the earliest Green Bay has ever hit that threshold. And there was another first that month. Well, 2 of them, actually. Southern Wisconsin would see the first 2 tornadoes ever recorded in the Badger State in the month of February. And not to be outdone, Washington Island would record some tornado history of its own when spring arrived. Striking on the night of May 21st, the EF1 tornado was the first tornado on record for the island. It happened the same night that another EF1 tornado ripped through parts of Kaukauna. Thankfully, there were no injuries or deaths with either. Into the first half of the summer, the story became rounds of torrential rain, and it seemed like every time we dried out for a few days, another round of rain moved through. And on July 5th, the heaviest rain event of the summer dumped so much rain on parts of the Fox Valley, multiple communities were left dealing with flooding. Neighborhoods in Appleton had feet of water in the streets, and in Manawa, about 50 feet of the dam along the Little Wolf River washed away when the rain overwhelmed it. But as summer progressed, the rain valve shut off. August, September, and October were all much drier and much warmer than normal. In October, Green Bay saw its latest ever 80-degree reading on the 29th. And as we've come to the final couple months of 2024, our weather has leveled out a little bit, both in terms of temperature and precipitation. Ultimately, 2024 is not going to go down as one of the warmest or driest years on record, nor one of the warmest or coldest, but it was an example of how we can still see records and firsts punctuating every season throughout the year. Meteorologist Phil DeCastro, Fox 11 News.
It's always nice to look back at some of the good things that took place this past year.
It kind of helps us with that balance of life, and it gives us hope for the future. Let's revisit some of those events.
I want to make sure we have time to practice with our magic E1s today.
Yay! Celebrating what goes on in the classroom is a Fox 11 tradition with the Golden Apple Awards.
It gives me a purpose. That's something I just truly enjoy and I'm passionate about.
Once again, we highlighted area educators going above and beyond for their students.
And they kind of roll their eyes, but I know that that's what they're going to remember about me in middle school. They're going to look back and be like, oh yeah, she was that teacher that dressed up and made math fun.
In May, we turned the spotlight on the students themselves with our Best of the Class event. Another huge success this past year was the Fox 11 Food Drive. We asked viewers to help us fill the shelves of area pantries in Green Bay, Menasha, Oshkosh, and Manitowoc.
This is a record year.
People are so grateful.
You answered the call with bags and bags filled with donations of food, supplies, and money.
By $1, Ben, you have once again come from third place to claim your second win.
Remember this guy, Ben Chan? Our St. Norbert instructor turned local celebrity with his wicked smarts on the game show Jeopardy, making it all the way to the Tournament of Champions.
Made me appreciate how hard it was, really. I'm just so grateful to have had that experience to play 6 times.
There are so many other wonderful events helping and celebrating others throughout the year. Here at Fox 11, we love being a part of them and showing you the good that's happening in our communities. So we thank you for watching our 2024 A Year in Review special. You can rewatch any of our Year in Review stories on our website.
Just use the camera on your smartphone to scan the QR code on your screen. That'll take you directly to the Year in Review section of our website.
From all of us at Fox 11, we want to wish you and your family the best in 2025.